Story 1. Both my parents died earlier this year. My partner of 17 years found out he has both heart and kidney failure, so I could lose him too. Knowing you'll die alone and probably lonely is difficult. It's hard to be optimistic. Story 2. I'm getting so severely bullied that I have to go to therapy. I'm so scared to go to school. Edit. Thanks so much for the help. You guys are very kind, and I just wanted to thank all of you since there are too many to thank individually. Story 3. The damage I've done to others and how I can likely never repair lost friendships. When I reached out to apologize, I was left unread. Moving on is always painful and makes me feel empty, but it is incredibly important. Story 4. Got ghosted by a 3-month situation I was too invested in. I know he is a jerk and I deserve better, but I'm still sad that it didn't work out the way I hoped it would. Story 5. I'm at a bar, alone, no one is here. I came here to fight my anxiety from humans, and I feel so lonely. Having such a need to fight anxiety like that just sounds pathetic. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm talking just about myself. Story 6. I beat cancer. However, I had an emergency hysterectomy due to a large tumor rupturing. I broke up with my ex a couple of weeks before I got really sick, and I don't regret breaking up with him at all. I just made a promise to myself that I would never settle, and I want to be a mom more than anything, although I could never be pregnant with no ovaries or uterus. Currently, I'm sad because adoption is really expensive, and I'm not sure if I can do it as a single person. All of my close friends are married and have at least one child. Story 7. Most of the people who say they love me do not. Not really. There is always a condition, whether it's my hair, how I dress, or what hobbies I have. They only really love what I can give them. To them, I am at most just a pet, loyal, docile, and sweet. The minute I do not fit their image and meet their expectations, I am disregarded. I could give them the love they say they want and need, but the minute I ask for even a tiny bit of what I want, it's always difficult, or they ask for an alternative closer to what they want. So, every time I am rejected by those I love or who say they love me, I am always rejected. Why is it so hard to want to be loved? What a stupid person I am. What a fool. What a poor, poor soul. There for everyone with no one by my side. The only exception is my dog, who would cry for me too. But of course, it's a different kind of companionship when it's another person, no? I try to live the lesson of not having expectations of anyone, even of myself, and to do things just because, but of course it can be exhausting too. Story 8. I've injured my knee pretty badly after a big fall, and then a week later it gave way and I collapsed again. I have a pretty good job I really like and don't want to take any long periods off work, but I'm in a lot of pain and I feel like I'll need surgery. Story 9. I'm sad that I didn't do enough to let someone know what I was going through, and that I didn't ask them for help. They didn't know how serious my issues are, that I have thoughts of self-harm on a daily basis, and it's my fault. I let them down. I also feel like I'm not enough physically. I'm overweight, out of shape, not good looking, have let myself go in regards to my appearance, and I'm just not enough for them anymore. I've said and done things that I don't mean out of desperation and frustration, and I deserve this. I just wish they would check on me from time to time and not cut me out entirely. Story 10. The ongoing wars in the world. The state of our politics driven by insatiable dopamine-injecting social media algorithms by amoral people with their own motives. That people like Trump, Vance, Dutton, Johnson, Bolsonaro, Orban have any credence. Story 11. My dog brutally attacked my other dog for the second time. I put my entire body between them. My boy dog was going for my girl dog's face and neck. I said no to that. Got caught in the crossfire. Had a massive bite on the neck of my arm. I saved my girl, but I'm shaken. Heartbroken. I love dogs and animals. I love my pets. But I can't step foot in my own home without being anxious now. Story 12. It is tough when your kids get older and move away. My daughter lives about an hour away, and I only get to see her a couple of days a month. My son literally flew to his new duty station in the Coast Guard yesterday. It is tough to think that over the course of their lives, I am sure I have already spent over 90% of the total time I will ever spend with them. I watch people walk around with their young kids with quite a bit of jealousy that they get to spend so much time with their kids. Story 13. I am sad because I am wondering what is going on with my body and wishing I could just get pregnant again and hopefully have my rainbow baby. I am dealing with some health issues and hoping to get some answers soon. Story 14. I have always lived with my dad. I am close to graduating now, and I am going to move in with my mother after school, who lives far away from him. I am sad because I know I am going to miss him a lot, but I currently miss my mother a lot. So no winning. Story 15. We are moving out of my son's childhood home, and while the move is a fantastic decision for everyone, I am a touch sad. I think it's mostly because I had one childhood home, and as soon as I graduated high school, my mom sold the house. So maybe it's just my past sadness creeping up. But yeah, I feel sad for him. He has said he will miss this house because he grew up here, but he's also excited for the new house. Story 16. I lost all my favorite people. The catalyst was my dad's suicide. Everything else fell apart afterward. My wife abandoned and betrayed me after promising she'd have my back through everything. My brother cursed me up and down. He's facing long-term prison time. My sister, whom I've always been close to, turned against me and cares only for herself. The estranged sister and I have managed to establish mutual respect, but it's a far cry from family. My mom and I have always struggled. I love her, but I must do it from afar. The hometown people have mixed feelings about me. Some really like me, but most, especially my dad's neighbors, all hate me without knowing anything about me as a person. As a bonus, my wife is living with her folks, just 2 houses down. While I've been in despair and agony, she's been unfazed, and walking 60 feet is too much to ask. Since April, she hasn't checked on me once, asked how I was doing, or extended any humanity whatsoever. She's actually been working to keep me in this slump, all financially motivated at the behest of her mother. I've been stuck in a rut for some time. I think of the song by the Wallflowers, One Headlight, where I turn the engine, but the engine doesn't turn. I'm getting better slowly, and I'm not going to remain here forever. But everything and everyone that I loved and that brought me joy, I've lost them all. For those not lost or otherwise out of reach, I didn't mention them here. People try to look down their noses at me, thinking they can judge me, but they have no idea or understanding of the burdens I carry. I'm not the type to give up, especially on life. I'm not worried about that at all. But I'll tell you this. When my time finally comes, I think I'll see the Reaper and embrace him with a warm hug, like meeting an old friend. I'll be glad that this life will be over. I'm somewhat high-functioning autistic with untreated, unsupported, and quite belittled ADHD in my home growing up. I was very smart with technical things, but nuances like body language or being orderly are elusive to me. I was never taught any coping mechanisms. I was just told I was lazy and unmotivated. I believed that for a long time, but after losing my dad, I was making real progress. Then, right at the 1-year anniversary, my wife did what she did, and it knocked me back down to ground level. So what I'm sad about at this moment is all the moments that led up to this. I have a big heart and I'm really optimistic. I'll try to help everyone as I'm just a believer. It's gotten me hurt at every turn. I'm doing all I can to fight off bitterness. I love my wife more than the grass loves the sunshine. I don't think I'll ever love like that again. It was all for someone who was likely putting up a fake persona, fitting the bill of quiet borderline personality disorder. It has been one challenge after another. That's not to say I haven't enjoyed my life or had fun, but I'm so drained. I haven't ridden my four-wheeler in over a year. It is brand new tires that have been there for a year, which is so unlike me. I used to ride 200 miles a week on it. I have so many projects that need to be finished. A car that needs things fixed, a pickup my dad, brother, and I were working on, a house that needs remodeling, a life that needs fixing, a soul that needs help, and I don't know where to start. I'm sad that it was allowed to get this far, that none of my people stood by me except for 2 whom I'll mention shortly. People I would have done everything for have been watching this pile up and said nothing. A very good friend, actually a girl I'd seen on and off, was the only one who told me not to marry my wife from the beginning. She was just so convincing and devious. Despite the bad blood with my friend, I was inclined to trust my own judgment. Well, the friendship kind of maintained, but I prioritized my marriage as a good husband should and ended it. But as soon as she found out what happened, she tried to reach me through a mutual friend. Ironically, the day before I had been trying to reach her. A few days passed and she called me. She was with her sister and their kids at a local festival and invited me. I was really excited but exhausted and in no shape to drive, so I declined. She sensed something in my voice and drove straight to me, arriving an hour and a half later. I had just been ruminating and lying on the couch when she knocked on my door. She stood there, and I talked with her about everything, showed her my home, the pictures, the happiness that was, and my surprise about all of this. She has been a constant force of support and goodness, though I initially pushed her away because I have difficulty understanding people, especially women. I'm learning. That was really rough, but we're improving. It took me being completely alone and self-reflecting to find where I was wrong. I'm making it. The other guardian angel/friend is a girl I knew from church 25 years ago when we were kids. We'd been out of contact for a long time, but life brought us back together. We both hit rough patches and found we communicated well together, keeping each other going. She's thanked me a lot for being there, though it felt like she was the one supporting me. Those are the silver linings I try to focus on. I didn't intend for this to be so lengthy, but I wanted to praise those two ladies. I don't think I would be alive if it wasn't for their humanity and love. Thanks, Ab, and thank you, Smash. I'll be forever grateful that you thought I was worth it. If you still have parents or grandparents, tell them you love them. If there are solvable grudges, work them out. Bridge divides. Get rid of animosity, and love one another while you can. Because, Reddit friends, when the show's over and the curtain falls, that's it. There's no going back, and it will never be the same, nor will you. That being said, I'm still filled with hope, still love life, smile, and cut jokes, believing there's something better ahead for me. It's just the interim that's challenging. Anybody got suggestions or tips? I'm all ears. My history is in my post history, if anyone's curious. I share openly so my pain and sorrows can help others. We must help one another. None of us make it out alive anyway, so let's make it the best experience we can. Story 17. My best friend moved away because of her studies. She promised to stay in touch with me and keep me as a friend, but slowly pushed me away. Now we don't really talk anymore. She has said some things to me which makes me wonder if she even ever thought of me as a good friend. For me, she was my everything. Now I miss her a lot. I miss talking to her and I miss spending time with her. I lost the person who I could tell anything to. It sucks. Story 18. The book that I just finished reading, Witch of Blackbird Pond. In case you're wondering. No, really, stop reading this Reddit comment and go read it. I just got so into the characters and the story, so it's hard to move on when it ends. Story 19. How lonely I am. I went shopping this weekend, and I had to leave early because, looking around at people shopping together, I felt so incredibly alone and depressed that I immediately lost interest and just went home. Story 20. I feel very stuck in my life situation. The issue is not that my life situation is bad, but I feel like I have outgrown it. I just do not want to throw everything away and start over. Feels like I am chained to the way things are. Story 21. My health, both physical and mental. This time of year always gets me down. Long, cold, dark winter is on the horizon. Plus I dislike both football and Halloween and everything associated with them. And then I read my timeline on social media. Story 22. I feel stuck and stagnant in my career. I have some unchecked anxiety issues resulting in panic attacks and a complete degradation of my self-confidence and motivation. I've been single and without intimacy for 6 years. I'm so touch-starved that a girl gave me a thoughtful hug a couple of months ago, and I cried afterward. I feel like I'm failing and starting to think my life peaked 7 years ago. The worst part, for me, is that everyone loves me. My friends, family, and coworkers all see me as this great optimistic person. I'm the jester, and I like being the jester, but I always head home alone. So I'm in a complete emotional black hole that only a few of my closest friends can see. And even they can't rectify how I feel this way when I'm the life of the party. I'm damaged goods, and I'm losing faith in overcoming that fact. Story 23. The only aunt that still keeps in contact with my family is rapidly deteriorating due to what seems like severe, sudden onset Crohn's disease at 63. She looks skeletal, and I don't know if medication or surgery will help. My father has a recurrent tumor, which he once had removed but refused to treat with therapy, growing on his neck that he hides with a long beard, and he refuses surgery at this point. I've accepted he'll be my first parent to pass, but it'll be much sooner than I thought. My job is ending soon because my boss is moving across the country, and I couldn't or didn't want to join him in Los Angeles. So now I'm searching everywhere for a new job that hopefully pays better because of my credentials. Add on top of this all the existential issues that come with your life suddenly shifting so drastically. My partner ended things earlier this year, but we reconnected about a month later and often were together. However, he then moved far away because he needed to still deal with himself and try to make something of himself. I'm going to visit where he lives now, an entertainment travel hotspot, and we've agreed to stay together while I'm there and get back in touch with each other. So, there's sadness but maybe some bright light. I doubt it. A lot of sadness.